Welcome back to Get Down to Business. Today, we are focusing on an organization that provides vital support to our military community, and that's the Armed Services YMCA of El Paso. And we have with us today, long overdue, my dear, dear, dear friend, Jerry Jacobitz, the CEO of this important organization. Jerry, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here, Scotty. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about the mission of the Armed Services YMCA of Greater El Paso and the types of services that you provide to military members and their families?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Armed Services YMCA is actually a national branch of organization. And we have 12 different branches spread across most of our largest military installations. And our mission statement is to help enhance the lives, particularly of our junior enlisted service members and their families. But, any type of service member out there that needs our assistance, we're there for. A lot of people ask, what's the difference between you as an Armed Services YMCA and the regular YMCA? And there's a big difference. We are, again, just focused on helping out our military, active duty military population to help make ends meet, make them more resilient overall. Our organization nationally started in 1861. A bunch of faith-based leaders went up to President Abraham Lincoln and said, hey, how can we help with the war effort? And he just said, hey, go out there and provide comfort for our soldiers. And since then, we've been doing that exact same thing. Here in El Paso, we started up in 1921. We actually had our 104th birthday this year, January 16th.
Amazing. It's incredible. And we're going to talk a little bit more about your connection and your story. What are some of the biggest challenges faced by military families in El Paso and frankly around the country? And how does the Armed Services YMCA help them overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think that the challenges that our armed services service members and their families, what they face is it's the same across, no matter where you're at. There's a little bit difference if you're overseas or if you're deployed, stuff of that nature. But there's a lot of challenges. For instance, a military service family, they're going to move approximately once every 2.5 years. I did 30 years in the Army. My wife and I moved 18 times. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of transition. And so it's particularly challenging, not only for the service member and the spouse, but also for the children. I think for the children, it's way harder because they got to constantly be making new friends every place they go. And those friends may not be going to the same school that they're at. So the service member, we're going to be changing duty stations, but we're going to be kind of going into that same group of people that we knew. So there's always going to be somebody there that we know. With our children, that's not going to be necessarily the same. And with all those movements, those PCSs, the permit changes duty station, which is not really permanent because it's only for, like I said, 2.5 years. The families of the service members, they don't have any direct family, that's around them most of the time. So they don't really have anybody to kind of help them out when they need help. There's also a statistic that came out, and we're slowly, bringing this down. But one in 6 military families out there have some type of food insecurity challenges that they have. So the Armed Services YMCA, we really do 6 core programs. And our core programs focus on providing low-cost childcare. And then the rest of our programs are no cost. So we focus on programs that are designed to help the children and families with transition. So we do an after-school program called Operation Hero, which is done twice a week for 2 hours. And that program really helps the children of service members that are having a tough time with the constant transitions. And that's done over a period of about 2 months. And then at the end of the time, every time they learn a lesson, they get a little ID tag that goes on an ID tag chain. And then and it just gives them different skill sets and helps them to overcome those challenges they face when they transition from place to place. And it also gives them that kind of core group of people that are having the same struggles. So it gives them, lets them know who else is the military family, military child in that group. And so that helps them build strong relationships. We also do a no-cost food pantry. In the last year here in El Paso, Fort Bliss alone, we gave 400,000 pounds of food back into our military community. We're able to help over 8,000 families directly on Fort Bliss and 14,000 families total in the El Paso area because our food market's open to the community too. If they have an ID card, they get on base, they can access our food program that we have out there. We do, like I said, our child care. super low cost. For example, for an infant, it's $143 a week, so less than $600 a month out there. We also do Operation Little Learners program, which is designed to help new parents understand how to educate their children before they get into preschool. So it's kind of a pre-preschool educational program that we do. It's also done twice a week. And then on top of that, we do, during the holiday season, we do what's called Operation Holiday Joy. And during that period of time, we have Operation Ride Home, where last year we were able to help 28 families from the Fort Bliss area be able to go back home during the holiday season. And what we do is we give them $300, or actually $500 per person if they're flying home, and then $125 per person if they're driving home. And it really helps out for, because a lot of people don't really think about it, but we have a lot of soldiers there that are from other U.S. territories also, not just from the continental United States. So they might be from Puerto Rico, or they might be from the Samoan Islands, and those plane tickets are extremely expensive. So we're able to help defer and offset those costs a lot of time. Again, all of our programs are really designed just to help build resiliency for our family members. We also have what's called the Children's Waiting Room, which here in El Paso, and every Armed Services YMCA is a little bit different. Most of them have children's waiting rooms right now, but we're very lucky and fortunate to have two children's waiting rooms. One's at one of our medical clinics that is our primary medical clinic for families. And the other one's at our medical facility, William Beaumont here. Those are what we do there is we allow single service members and parents, single service members and spouses, they can drop off their kids for 2 hours so we can watch them while they make their medical appointments.
Absolutely. I'm chatting with the CEO of Armed Services YMCA of El Paso. It's Jerry Jacobitz. We're going to continue our conversation after a very quick break. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back and Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And as our listeners know, I love to feature amazing people doing amazing things in the community. And there's no greater example of that than my very dear friend, Jerry Jacobitz, CEO of Armed Services YMCA of El Paso. Jerry rejoins us in this conversation. We've just been having a truly inspirational conversation about the impact and the work that they do. But I want to hear a story, Jerry, about the impact that the Armed Services YMCA has had in the life of a military family in El Paso. Can you share a real life connection here?
Yeah, there's so many great stories out there, but one of my favorites is what just happened during our last period when we were doing Operation Holiday Joy. During that phase, which really starts in October to December, we also do this thing called the Boots campaign, which we pick out families that have really had catastrophic events happen to them. Maybe their house burned down or they had something that's really financial challenges. And we were able to give them, up to 30 gifts for the entire family. And we really do a really thorough analysis of what that family needs. And for those gifts. And we had one family we were talking about. He said, my wife is getting ready to go back to college again, but we don't have a laptop and stuff of that nature. So we were able to put that on the paper and show that need. And then the organization sent down the gifts for it. And so she unwrapped the laptop, and so I had my staff behind me, and she just immediately started crying and just telling how much she really wanted to go back to college, but they didn't have enough money for that laptop, and she's there crying. I turned back to look at my staff; they're all crying. I mean, it's just it's a good feeling, and it's even better feeling when you think about how we're able to impact those service members and their families out there to make sure that they're taken care of.
Well, thank you for the important work that you're doing. Jerry, I would be remiss if I didn't add that you and I got to know each other in El Paso when I was assigned on Fort Bliss, and I saw you initially as one of those service members and your passion for helping junior enlisted. And I would like you to share a little bit about your journey. You mentioned 18 moves. That's incredible. What should our listeners know? One additional tidbit or highlight behind the scenes of the life of a service member and why the work that or their support to the Armed Services YMCA, why it's so important. Yeah,
well, it was a great pleasure meeting you. I truly mean that. I mean, you meet all kinds of people. I did 30 years in the Army. I met all kinds of people, but there are particular people that stand out, and you're absolutely one of them. Your passion and drive to help out everybody in the formation It's inspirational, and it was just a blessing to have met you. I think the one thing that I would like to let the everybody that's listening to this know is that the service members in our military, they're incredibly proud to do what they do. Everybody loves. They all love to be soldiers. They love to be Marines. They love to be sailors. They love to be airmen. They love to be in the Space Force. We love what we do, and we do it freely. And we know that there's a lot of sacrifice through deployments, being in the field, a lot of different training things that take away missing family gatherings, the holidays, and stuff of that nature. So it is challenging, but it is also a passion for the majority of our service members out there. We used to always say America's greatest treasure is its men and women, and especially those that choose to serve in our armed forces.
Jerry, the last word goes to you. How can our listeners get in touch and support your important work at the Armed Services YMCA of El Paso?
So you can go directly to our website, which is elpaso.asymca.org. And you can also go to the national website, which is just armedservicesymca.org, asymca.org, and just kind of look at what our mission is out there. All nonprofit organizations, we're out there trying to grow. We're trying to help out as many people as we can possibly help out that absolutely need this service and this help. And if you feel like you could donate, we always appreciate that. But if you're also close to any military installation that has an Armed Services YMCA, think about volunteering.
Well, thank you so much, Jerry Jacobitz. That's a wrap for us this week on Get Down to Business. To success, let's get down to business. We'll see you next week.